you just deal with less bullshit. So therefore, you deal with more of what you do want to deal with. Hey guys, so today's video is going to be how to be a baddie a la 2015, but updated for 2022-2023. Before we get started, I want to thank today's sponsor, which is Dossier. Dossier is my favorite online fragrance brand. They specialize in doing inspired by fragrances of your favorite designers for a fraction of the price. Their perfumes start at $29 and they are amazing. Anytime I wear one of their scents, somebody, like in public, somebody asks me if it is the actual scent, and I'm like, no, it's Dossier. This is one of my favorite scents. It's ambery saffron and it's inspired by baccarat and it smells exactly like a bitch. It's so good. So you guys should definitely check out Dossier. They also have a 30-day money-back guarantee policy. So if you do not like the perfume after 30 days of wear, you can return it for a full refund. And like I always say, that just really shows to me that they believe in their product and that they know you're gonna love it. But if you don't, you don't. Like, it's fine. So you can get 10% off with my code down below. So definitely check them out. Again, I love the scent ambery saffron as well as woody sandalwood. That's another one of my favorites. So thank you so much to Dossier for sponsoring today's video, and let's continue on with the rest of it. So today we're gonna do how to be a baddie updated 2022, 2023, and beyond. And take off my Apple Watch because I know it's gonna annoy me. Not very baddie of me. If you've watched me for a while, you know that this style of video is like really how I blew up back in the day. This style of video, like where I'm just talking, telling you how to do something, is like when I'm most in my bag. I have a podcast now where I talk, but something about just like me doing my makeup, and especially this is why I wanted to film this with my iPhone. It just like really puts me back, puts me back in that place of like just being in my bag. So this is how to be a baddie. So it's currently Mercury retrograde. I've talked about it on my podcast, and you guys know Mercury retrograde is a time of reflecting and going over, you know, things of your life, like maybe patterns or habits that you maybe need to change or spruce up. It's a good time to go through stuff, to get rid of stuff, to donate stuff, and to kind of clean up shop. And I think this is coming at a great time of year, right before New Year's. You know, obviously not right before New Year's, but you know, towards the end of the year as we're kind of finishing up our goals and thinking low-key about what we want to do next year. So one of the things that I was doing is privating some of my old videos, especially my old vegan videos, a lot of the videos where I was underage, and just kind of cleaning up my channel. Low-key, a lot of my old videos were embarrassing. And in doing that, obviously I'm, you know, watching some of my old videos, especially old vlogs. Looks like I'm about to do a 2016 brow. I swear I'm not. So yesterday, actually, I was watching this old vlog from when I used to live, like my first apartment when I used to live in Hollywood. And bro, just that whole time, like, I'm just gonna start out by being very superficial. I feel like I was so ugly at that time. And you're not allowed to say that. Only I can say that. So don't comment, yeah, I agree, you were so ugly. Like, shut up. But with that being said, it's like, sounds very superficial. Again, don't agree with it. A lot of my, and I feel like just in general, a lot of your external appearance can be a reflection of like who you are on the inside. And I say that lightly. Like, I don't say that about people in general, but I say that about myself, and like maybe you relate. So for example, at that time, I was still like pretty vegan. So my face looked just so like chubby, low key, which was weird because I was not chubby. Like, I way more now than I do then. My acne, it wasn't at the worst it was at this time, but I definitely had acne, and I can tell it just was not, it wasn't like hormonal acne like I had later, but it was just very much, I didn't have a good skincare routine acne. And like, then the makeup I was putting on top of that, I feel like I was wearing so much makeup and it just looked so crusty and dry. And like, I'm literally watching this vlog like cringing because I'm just like, ew, I went out in public like that. And then my hair wasn't toned. So it's like, I didn't have that little glow up yet. So then, because this was a vlog, like one of the particular ones that I'm thinking of that I watched was with other people. It was kind of like an antic vlog. Like, we had people over, I was with a friend, and like, I was not drunk in the vlog. I remember not, it's not like I was drunk, but I was just like around other people, and like, I was having fun for sure. So it's not like this part of the vlog was so cringy, but it just reminded me. So I'm just gonna tell you and then explain. So my voice would just be so like high pitched. and annoying. And I know, like, when I'm excited, I will talk in like a higher pitched voice and just like, I'm like excited, I'm with my friends, I'm having a good time, whatever. Like, I think that's normal and natural, especially, you know, if you are drinking. Again, I don't think I was drinking in this video, but like it was that kind of environment. But that reminded me of just how far I've come in my self-growth journey. I guess just like how far I've come in being more assertive and direct with people. Growing up and stuff is something I've had to work on a lot, is learning how to say no, being direct with people, especially when I don't want to do something, when I'm uncomfortable, basically when my opinion or what I want is going to disrupt the other person or potentially disrupt the other person or the group. And I feel like a way that I would cope with that and deal with that for a long time is like by laughing, or like, it's just kind of the vibe of like adding LOL at the end of a text so it seems less serious, but like you didn't need to add it. So like when my voice was like getting high pitched like that, it's not like, oh yeah, I caught on camera, like me people pleasing, but it just, all of these things in the video reminded me just of that. So I feel like I've definitely changed my, or should I say refined my definition of what it means to be a baddie. One of my main things is just to be more calm assertive. It's actually funny because my mom and I always talk about that, because we be watching The Dog Whisperer, and he always talks about how you need to have a calm assertive energy with your pet, with your dog, with dogs in general, because they can feel vibes. And the vibe you want to have is like calm. Like you don't want to be like, I don't know, obnoxious assertive or like violent assertive. Like, you want to be calm, but you don't want to be like calm in a passive way or a passive aggressive way. Like calm assertive. Like, I am not afraid to be here, but I'm calm about it, you know? And I feel like adopting that mindset in life, and especially with other people, and especially when dealing with conflict or potential conflict, is key. And I bring that up specifically because it's like, you know, yeah, it's fun to be a baddie. It's fun to have fun. It's fun to, I don't know, go on dates with guys and like, hee, I'm a passenger princess, or haha, going to the club with my girlies, can't wait. But then it's like, not everything can be just like an aesthetic IG story, and not everything is just like the highlights either. What am I trying to get at? I feel like I'm trying to get at, like, you need to be prepared to handle yourself in any situation. So if you're like, I want to be a baddie, I want to live like the girls in the TikToks that do a solo night out, have this idea of, oh my god, like I'm just gonna be so hot and like this and that. But it's like, you need to learn how to like deal with shit too. So much of life in our society is focused on how things look and like external appearances, but it's like, you need to handle your own shit first. So that looks like mental health, that looks like learning how to stand up for yourself, learning how to say no, learning how to handle conflict, because when you have those tools, you're so much better equipped to handle real life, especially if you're around my age, if you're younger, if you're in your early 20s, if you're about to graduate high school, if you're like going out into the real world for the first time. Having these tools is so much more important than anything else. Like, it is really the foundation of your life. And you guys know, if you've watched me for a while, even if you haven't watched me for a while, if you've watched me for a week, you probably get the vibe, you know, I'm all about, but I've always been like this. I'm very like self-help. I'm very like self-improvement. Like, I want to learn, you know, what I can be doing better. What can I improve? I've like always been like that. And I've just always been interested in like wellness and whatever. Bitches want to make their aesthetic mood boards. Bitches want to practice the law of attraction, and that's all great and dandy, but it's like, are you also learning about your weaknesses and things you need to improve on internally? Like, not how can I make my life look better, and like, oh, if I have these things, I'll be happy. It's like, do you know your weaknesses? How do you act when somebody asks you to do something that you don't want to do? How do you act if a friend needs you and you just are so tired and you don't think you really want to be there for them or do that for them? How do you handle it? And that shit, once you figure that shit out, so many other things fall into place. You have less drama, you have less toxic people in your life, therefore the relationships you do have are that much stronger and that much more aligned with you, your values, your goals. You just deal with less bullshit. So therefore, you deal with more of what you do want to deal with. And it's not like, oh, yes, once I learn more about myself and I'm not afraid to face my dark side. I never have to deal with any of it again. It's like, no, shit still comes up. You still have to deal with like annoying people, but you have the tools to deal with it. You're not scared to say no. You're not scared to tell somebody they pissed you off. I don't know, whatever it may be for you. So it's like, it's not like I know everything. I don't think anyone thought that, but you know, it's not like I think that. But just becoming aware of this myself, just so many things like related to mental health and just, I guess, how people communicate and like why people are the way that they are. And I guess like different coping strategies people have. It's astonishing to then become aware of how many people like don't know how to communicate clearly, don't know how to handle conflict, or don't know how to resolve conflict constructively. How many people stay in toxic relationships and just relationships that aren't good for them? Because it's like, bro, I'd be beating myself up for shit I did like, or like had to experience when I was younger, but I'm like, bro, like, you're telling me like people just keep doing that. And again, it's not like I'm perfect, it's not like I know everything, it's not like, yeah, I'm like cured, but it's just becoming aware of it and like starting to practice this shit. And I think for me, it's like being willing to work on yourself, not in a fun way, like not in like a, I'm gonna work on myself by doing a face mask and like taking an aesthetic pic and like just kind of like changing up my style. It's like, I'm gonna work on myself by thinking about every bad thing that's ever happened and like, you know, resolving that, and then like pissing some people off that I thought were friends because like I'm not gonna just, I don't know, say yes to them anymore, whatever the case may be. So a way you can start practicing this is being kind instead of nice. And obviously I recommend everyone like try to go to therapy. I really want to get back into it. So that's like obviously number one priority, but it can be hard to get into. So I recommend following a lot of therapists on IG, because just seeing that content all the time, there's so much amazing free information out there that can just help you become stronger in yourself, more confident in yourself, and just have a better life. So I'll link my faves down below. But one of the main things that you can start doing today is being kind instead of nice. I've talked about this on my podcast many a time, but you know, when you're being nice, you're putting other people's feelings and needs before your own typically. Whereas kindness low-key comes from a place of like putting yourself first, because putting yourself first is like, I mean, sometimes it can like sound easy, I feel like sometimes, because we just low-key hear it so often. At least I feel like I would hear it so often, like, yeah, self-love, I want to practice self-love, but it's like, what does that really mean? So I just actually had a therapist on my podcast, so if you listened or watched that, but it can look like telling a friend like, no, I can't like listen to you vent today, or like, sorry, I'm really tired, I can't hang out today, instead of, you know, making another excuse or like lying, like, oh no, I actually have to do all these errands. Just be honest. And I think the power of honesty, let's say your friend wants to hang out with you, but you're just feeling really drained and tired and you just genuinely don't feel like hanging out, like you're not busy, you just don't feel like it. You could lie and make something up, or you could just be like, no, I'm feeling a little drained, I don't really have the bandwidth to socialize today, or I don't really want to do that today, whatever. And it's like, they're probably gonna have the same reaction with each, like most likely. But I think when you're honest with somebody, it just improves your own self-trust and self-confidence, because you're like, yes, I can trust myself to be honest. And like, I don't have to like scramble, like, oh my God, I need to come with a lie, you know? Just be honest with somebody for yourself. Another thing that I've really changed over the years is I remember specifically, I have this like, bro, I have a specific memory. I just remember literally telling a friend like, oh, like we were trying to decide what to eat or something, classic. And I was like, oh, like I don't like making decisions, like you can just decide. And now looking back, I realized that was like a very people-pleasing moment for me. The thing is, I do have opinions. I have a lot of them. I like to make decisions. I, you know, I'm very independent and I make decisions for myself all damn day. So it's like, by saying, oh no, I just don't like to, you decide. It's like, I was scared to voice what I wanted. I don't even remember like wanting anything and like being scared to say, but it's just like that vibe. Like instead of throwing suggestions out there or whatever, it's like, oh, like the fear is like, oh, like what if they don't like that and they reject my idea, therefore they're rejecting me and they're gonna be unhappy with me. Like, let me just let them decide so I don't have to deal with that, you know? So I think another way to practice self-confidence and self-trust and putting yourself first is like to voice your opinions. I don't want to be the person in the friend group that's like, oh, she'll just go along with whatever. Like, she's so chill, because I've been that person before. And ultimately, like, you think, oh, I'm just like really easy to get along with and like this and that. But really, it just you end up with a lot of resentment, because a lot of the times you don't feel heard, you don't feel really valued or respected as a friend, or especially as part of a group, and you just don't really feel like you matter, you know? Whereas now, it's like in the friendships and relationships I feel like they're a lot more equal. I could state what I want or don't want, or if someone suggests something, instead of just going along with it right away, is if it's something I don't want to do, it's like, well, how about this? Like, I don't really feel like that, but like, what about this? And I'm no longer okay with being the person that, you know, is always going to be okay with what the other person wants, or what the group wants, or whatever. So catching yourself when you're doing that is just really key. And again, you can just start with small things. Like, an example I always say in my podcast is like, if they make your coffee order wrong, ask them to fix it. Go back. Like, when you have that moment of like, oh, it's like, just get back in line, sis, go to the counter, whatever. So in a friendship that could look like you saying no. Like, just practice saying no over something. And I think in dating too, it's especially important, especially if you are a woman dating men, because men often do expect us to just be very agreeable, and there's just so much nonsense out there, especially on TikTok. So it's scary, because it's kind of like marketed as this like new agey, trendy, like Gen Z, you know, just dating trend, like dating hack. Like, you want to be in your feminine energy, bro. Like, I saw this shit, this video yesterday where this girl was like, oh, a dating hack is like, just like, if you just want to be so in your own feminine energy, like, don't even look at the menu. Like, just ask him to order everything. I feel like maybe for a specific kind of relationship, maybe that'd be like fun. But like, if this is like, we don't really know each other yet, I don't want to set that, personally, I don't want to set that example of like, I make no choices, I just go along with whatever you say, because I've tried so hard to actively unlearn that in my brain. So it's like, why am I going to like literally set up the relationship like that, you know? That was like horrifying. You realize that's literally just like olden days traditional patriarchy. Like, yeah, as a woman, I have no opinion. I just want to be in my feminine energy so much that I don't even know how to read. And they're like, yeah, it's just like, it's such a fun dating hack. It's like, such a fun dating hack. Don't have a bank account in your name, and everything has to be approved by your husband or father. Be in your feminine energy. That's like another discussion though, but anyway. So another thing that I have done to practice being more calm, assertive, and therefore more confident is to just remove the remove that, not humor, but like the nervous laughter, you know, the unnecessary LOL, the high-pitched talking. That can be hard because it's just so like automatic, at least for me sometimes. But you know what I mean? Like, laughing when you're uncomfortable. Like, instead, just practice like sitting in discomfort. Just practice deleting the LOL from the text. And like, obviously, sometimes an LOL is fine. But you know, when you're sending a serious text, don't add LOL. It's just like, I have it so in my brain that like, I just want to be respected, like, over being nice, over being liked. And I think when you kind of like reframe your mind like that, like, again, I'm not perfect. It's still something I work on. But again, just awareness can take you a long way. And yeah, just like being sure of yourself, and just like in knowing what you want and don't want. So that could look like your coffee order. That could look like what you want to eat at a restaurant. It's not like, oh my God, I have to have my whole life figured out. But it's just like, instead of this, oh, haha, like, I don't know, like, it's like, no, I do know, actually, and I'm gonna tell you. My favorite, okay, like, don't know if you guys watch Real Housewives of New Jersey specifically, but in the first kind of like cast, I think it's up until season 5 or 6, love. Caroline Manzo is like such a prime example of like, she's not afraid to look like a bitch, in the sense of like, she's not afraid to tell people no. She's not afraid to tell people how it is, and therefore she's respected. Like, they know not to try shit with her. There was this one moment where, like, they wanted her to come, they were, like, not camping, but, like, at a cabin, so they're, like, doing outdoorsy things, and they wanted her to come on the four-wheeler with them, and she was just like, no, and so they left her alone. Like, they didn't, like, keep trying to, like, ask her, like, they were like, okay. It's like goals, you know? Like, I want to be respected like that. It's like, even if, oh my God, I'm sad, she just doesn't want to do this with us. It's like, at least you respect that. And it's just like, people respect you when you're real. Like, I know that I respect people who are real with me. Even if it's something I don't want to hear, even if it's like, oh, like, I thought we were gonna hang out today, or like, oh, I thought, like, you would want to do this, but you don't. It's just like, I'm gonna respect you. Versus if you're, like, lying to me, even if it's about small shit, it's like, do you think I'm stupid? Like, do you think I can't handle the truth? You know, it's so easy to just internalize it and take it personally. So once I started really realizing that annoyed me about other people too, it was like a huge kind of, I don't know, push to really focus on not acting like that myself. Ooh. This is the blush, by the way. Just because I know the girlies love a cream blush or like a liquid blush. Something else that I have really been working on recently, especially been working on, I haven't drank in a month. Today's Tuesday, on Thursday it will be a month, is just lowering my alcohol intake. I feel like over the pandemic, especially like 2020 and like that summer, like I was just drinking a lot. Not like crazy, especially compared to some people, but I just had too many moments that were like too messy to me. And looking back, it was like, okay, like it was a pandemic going on, and like what else were we gonna do? And it's like, when I did hang out with friends, it was just like we would just go crazy. So then the next summer, last summer, I remember really just experimenting with drinking less. I was still going out last summer for sure. I definitely still had bitch like antics. I definitely had my moments, my snooky moments, but just experimenting with like less. And then this summer, really have not been going out at all. It's not like I haven't been drinking this summer at all, but it's just like I'm not like going out. I was lit on my birthday, but that was probably the most lit, definitely the most lit I've been all summer. I want to say all year. So for me, it's like I would definitely get anxiety in the sense of like, ew, I was so messy, I was so stupid, and I just really pride myself. Bitch, I'm a Leo, I'm very like prideful, but I just really pride myself on like my, I guess, character and for, you know, being responsible and making good decisions. And I just feel like when you're like crazy lit, like you don't make good decisions. I don't know, it's like, ew, I wouldn't have like done that if I wasn't like that drunk or like whatever. And I think a lot of it also is just coming out of my early 20s, you know. A lot of people go through a snooky phase, but like, so I would definitely experience that. And then also already dealing with anxiety, like, because I kind of realized like when people say anxiety, they mean like, oh, like, do my friends hate me? Like, it's related to usually the night before. So that would happen to me, but then also like just the physical symptoms of anxiety. So like the increased heart rate and just like, you know, just the feelings of anxiety, like the sweating and like, ew. I feel like maybe because I'm getting older too, like that was a lot more increased. So not being messy and knowing your limits is just really important. And also in following these therapy pages, a lot of them do, especially this one, Therapy for Women, she is sober, and so she posts a lot of like sober related content. So lowering your alcohol intake, if not eliminating it, can improve your sleep, your health. Obviously, we know this, it can improve your skin. And something I believe she posted is it can deepen your relationships, because, you know, if the basis of your friendship with somebody is just that you go get drunk together, it's like, what really is there else to that relationship? So if you're not drinking as much, or if you stop drinking, it's like, what friends are you still gonna have? And therefore it's like, who can you just hang out with, like not drinking, you know? Also just taking a break from drinking over the past month, like literally have not had one drink. It's just also made me realize, and it's like I knew this before, but just how normalized alcohol consumption is and just how much people drink. And I'm definitely more of like a social drinker, so for me it wasn't like, oh my god, I'm just like drinking so much all the time, like, but it was just like, I feel like when I would go out or something, I would feel like I would get too messy sometimes, and it's just like, ew, like, you know, if you're having like a night, like it's not like a random fucking day. I don't know. So I think that's like a really good point. And I think also it can deepen your relationship with yourself, because if you don't drink, you're gonna be a lot more aware of things going on around you, obviously, and vibes, but also of yourself. So it's like, when am I uncomfortable? When do I feel awkward? Like, when do I have the urge to drink? So you're basically like more aware of your weaknesses. So therefore you can work on them, because you're not just constantly like masking them and then like forgetting about them or whatever. Like, you're directly confronted with them, so you can just work on them. And yeah, of course, less anxiety and depression. Not to say, you know, I'm never gonna drink again, but it's just, it has been an interesting kind of cleanse. Something else I think is really important in being a baddie is just having common manners and common courtesy. That does not look like over functioning, doing too much for other people, and whatever. Like, don't do more than you need to do. But I think it does go back to the whole being nice versus being kind thing. Like, I really try to be thoughtful. I mean, I think I'm a thoughtful person, but I try to like do thoughtful things for people I care about, like in general. So like the day after my little birthday party celebration, like I texted everyone individually and I thanked them for coming, and I told them, you know, something unique, like, I don't know, that I enjoyed with my time with them, or like, I don't know, like, it's personal, it's thoughtful, and it makes people feel like you care and you notice them and you appreciate them. And not to like toot my own horn, it's not like, oh my god, I'm the most like thoughtful, nice person ever. But just like thinking about that, I was like, bro, I don't think anyone's ever done that. Like, people don't do that, you know? And it's like, bro, in the olden days, you would like send, I'm not like an olden days advocate, but it's just, but just like that, you know, people would send like thank you cards, you know? Like, I grew up having to send thank you cards after like a birthday party, after holidays, like to relatives or anyone who that, you know, got me a gift or whatever. Like, that was just very normal to me. So bitch, I can fucking send a thank you, a personalized, thoughtful thank you text, like as a bare minimum, you know? Bitches just don't do that. Bitches won't even like say thank you when you wish them happy birthday on IG. We've talked about this. But yeah, like sending people birthday cards, or at least just like thoughtful birthday texts. It's like, yeah, you don't have to be like, if you don't want to be like an olden days person and have your custom stationery and like write thank you cards all the time, or birthday cards. But it's just like thoughtful shit like that, you know, when it's important, it shows a difference. Again, that does not mean you overextend yourself or you do too much or whatever. But I don't know, also things like not showing up empty-handed, I think is important. And like, you know, does that mean like go over the top, do the most, do too much, or do it expecting something in return? No, but it's just like thoughtful shit. And it just, you know, creates this good vibe around you, because, you know, then people are gonna associate you with the good vibes and the thoughtfulness, and it's just like a good time. I think it just goes a long way, because I feel like so many people do feel so alone and like underappreciated and just like invisible. And especially you and your friends. I was gonna say you and your single friends, but bitches mans be neglecting them too. So show the people that you care about love, and I'm sure you do, but it's just like those little things, those little thoughtful things, I think show a lot, because just most people don't do them. So it's like chic. And Charles Gross has a lot of good videos about, you know, I don't know, being a good hostess, or like being a good guest, or just like thoughtful things. I don't know why that came to mind, but like, bro, one of my favorite things that was like so chic, there's this like older woman on TikTok that does kind of like, I don't know, because she does cooking videos, but then she'll do like etiquette videos. But she was like, oh my god, a great hack is like, you get a bunch of tea towels, like if they're on sale or something, like get a pack, or just always have like tea towels on hand, like fresh new ones, because then you can, like as a hostess gift, like if you're going to someone's house, you can get a bottle of wine or whatever and like wrap it in the tea towel. And it's just, she showed this like specific way to tie it, and then you like put some ribbon around it, and it just like, it's so easy to do. It's so like such a chill thing to do. You're not like going over the top with anything crazy, but like it's just like that much more thoughtful and like chic. So love that. So the last kind of tip I have for you today for how to be a baddie is related to our external appearance. And I just feel like, and this is very like personable, bitch, do you, but something that I've changed is just like, I've realized that less is more. And I feel like with the clean girl aesthetic, I love the clean girl aesthetic. Like, I don't think I will ever not do the clean girl aesthetic. Maybe I'll throw in a different eyeshadow here and there. if I'm going like out or something, or going out at night, but like just clean, natural beauty, you know, it's just the best. Like before, bitch, if I was doing a GRWM, not that I ever used to be over the top, or not that like wearing a lot of makeup or like, but bitch, it's personal style, so do whatever is the best for you. But I just learned for myself, like I am gonna cringe less if I'm just like doing less makeup. And I think for me also, like with my clothes, like I had this phase, I feel like neon was really trendy summer 2019, but I just look back at that and I just cringe. And so now I'm just so much more about like neutrals and just a more like, I want to say a more classic wardrobe, but do not pull up my fucking outfits as receipts because I don't know what I've been wearing recently. But just that idea of like more neutrals and more stuff like that. But again, that's personal, that's like a personal preference. Do whatever makes you most happy and confident, you know? But I think there is something to be said about like a capsule wardrobe, like goals. Also like my nails, you guys know I used to get the crazy long nails. I've definitely shortened it, and this was the first time in so long that I got literally just a gel manicure. Chic. Not everyone's gonna like that. Do you. Yeah, I think a lot of it also was like moving away from the male gaze and more towards just like natural vibes, and I think just like more being more authentically myself vibes. Bitch, am I still gonna wear like a Fashion Nova bodysuit sometimes? Probably, but like, you know? So that is my guide on how to be a baddie, updated 2022-2023. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your tips for being a baddie down below. Number one, don't have your hair like this. I wanted to just have it all be down and wavy, but the top part was frizzy because I let it air dry. When being natural goes too far, it actually is a bad time. But just remember that being a baddie or being chic or being whatever aesthetic it is you want to be, it starts from the inside. And at the end of the day, it's just so much more important to lay that foundation for yourself, to be strong and to be vulnerable and confident and sure of yourself. So I hope you guys learned something from this video. Leave your tips and tricks down below, and I will talk to you next time. Bye everyone.